गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधमाधवा कुंज विहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना यमुनातीरावनचारी यमुनातीरावनचारी जय राधमाधवा कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा कृष्ण रुक्मिणी जय सत्यभामा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय जय गौरनिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय मृषपाद परमंस परिव्राजगतरेष्ठोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय मृषपाद परमंस परिव्राजगतरेष्ठोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद इस डिवाइन ग्रेस श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण रुक्मिणी सत्यभामा की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, Text number 14. Suta Uvacha Dvapare Samanuprapte Dvapare Samanuprapte Dvapare Samanuprapte Tritiye Yugaparyaye Tritiye Yugaparyaye Tritiye Yugaparyaye Jata Paracharad Yogi Jata Paracharad Yogi Jata Paracharad Yogi Vasavyam Kalaya Harehe Vasavyam Kalaya Harehe Vasavyam Kalaya Harehe Suta Uvacha Dvapare Samanuprapte Tritiye Yugaparyaye Jataha Paracharad Yogi Vasavyam Kalaya Harehe Suta Uvacha Dvapare Samanuprapte Tritiye Yugaparyaye Jataha Paracharad Yogi Vasavyam Kalaya Harehe Any of the Matajis? Sutaha Suta Goswami Uvacha said, Dvapare, in the second millennium, Samanuprapte, on the advent of Tritiye, third, Yuga, millennium, Paryaye, in the place of Jataha, was begotten, Parachara, by Parachara, Yogi, the great sage, Vasavyam, in the womb of the daughter of Vasu, Kalaya, in the plenary portion, Harehe, of the personality of Godhead. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Suta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parashara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Kindly repeat. Suta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parashara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is a chronological order of the 4 millenniums, namely Satya, Dwapara, Treta and Kali. But sometimes there is overlapping. During the regime of Vaivasvata Manu, there was an overlapping of the 28th round of the 4 millenniums, and the 3rd millennium appeared prior to the 2nd. In that particular millennium, Lord Sri Krishna also descends, and because of this, there was some particular alteration. The mother of the great sage was Satyavati, the daughter of the Vasu, fisherman, and the father was the great Parashara Muni. That is the history of Vyasadeva's birth. Every millennium is divided into 3 periods, and each period is called a Sandhya. Vyasadeva appeared in the 3rd Sandhya of that particular age. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam Pangun langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Deenataranam. In the beginning of the creation, Lord Brahma had taken up the task of populating this universe with all kinds of living entities. Keeping this in mind, Brahma gave birth first to 10 sons. These sons were born to Brahma from his mind. They were Marichi, Angira, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Bhrigu, Vasishtha and Kratu. These were the first 8 sons, and all of them were great sages, great munis, highly qualified brahmanas. Then Brahma also had one more son. He generated one more son called Daksha. Daksha was a king, Kshatriya. And then finally, the 10th son of Brahma was Narada Muni. Narada Muni, Devarishi, a transcendental sage, and he remained a Naishtika Brahmachari. The rest of the 9 sons of Brahma, they all married and they undertook the order of Brahma to procreate. Narada Muni, because he was completely transcendental, renounced, he did not take up this task. His only task is to go around the world and make everybody devotee of Krishna. That is his task that Narada Muni has taken up. Out of these sons of Brahma, 10 sons of Brahma, Angira Rishi's son was Angirasa or Brihaspati. He became the chief priest of the Devatas. Shri Shri Krishna Rukmini Satyabhama ki. Brihaspati's son was Bharadwaja Muni. And in the further dynasty of Bharadwaja Muni came one Kshatriya king by the name Uparichara Vasu. This Uparichara Vasu, like Kshatriya kings, they have in the olden times, in the Vedic times, the custom was the Kshatriya kings used to marry many queens. Uparichara Vasu happened to marry Matsyagarbha, and this Matsyagarbha was the daughter of a fisherman. So she was not born in a Kshatriya family. Although she was not born in a Kshatriya family, Uparichara Vasu got attracted by her and he married her. This kind of intercaste marriage was not unheard of, nor was it uncommon in the Vedic times. In today's times, people become very upset when there are intercaste marriages, but in the olden times it was not like that. Intercaste marriages were allowed with certain restrictions. Now this out of the from the marriage of Uparichara Vasu and Matsyagarbha was born a daughter. And this daughter was reared by a fisherman only, most probably her grandfather. Grandfather would have, sometimes in the Vedic times, this was also a practice. The grandfather, when he gives his daughter in marriage to another person, he may want or he may ask for their child to be reared as his child. Sometimes they used to do that. Like Kunti Maharani she was given to the cousin brother of her father. And so that's how she grew up. So like this, sometimes when the people don't have children, they ask their relatives to give one of their children and they rear them. So this daughter born to Uparichara Vasu and Matsyagarbha was reared by mostly her grandfather, but she grew up in the fishermen's, in their community. Generally, in the Vedic times, when a man and a woman marry, if it is an intercaste marriage, the child born out of that would generally be of the upper caste. It would not be considered of the lower caste. So, that way, this girl should have been considered a Kshatriya, but then she grew up as the daughter of a fisherman. So now, another son of Brahma, which was Vasishtha. Now this Vasishtha had a son by the name Shakti. He was also a Maharishi. And this Shakti married one girl called Adrishyati. And when this girl Adrishyati was about 12 years old, that is when she was married to the Maharshi Shakti. And at such a young age, she conceived and she became pregnant with a child. That child, when the child was within the womb of his mother, he learnt all the Vedas. He learnt all the Vedas within the womb of the mother. You can imagine. Normally, for a person to learn the Vedas, it's not possible to learn so quickly. The person has to first of all master Sanskrit language and his grammar, Vyakarana. That itself will take almost 12 years of intense study. And then one has to take up the study of the Vedas. So it takes a long time. Further, another 3-4 years will go. But this child, within the womb of the mother itself, the child had mastered the Vedas, not an ordinary personality. And when the child was born, he was named Parashara. He became the great Parashara Muni who went on to author many Vedic scriptures. Once this Parashara Muni, he was going somewhere, he was wandering. These rishis and munis, generally they don't stay for a long time in one place. They may make a small hermitage in one place. After a little while, they'll move from there to another place. They'll go about illuminating the people about transcendental knowledge. That's their whole, the way they live. They're completely renounced. They're not interested in developing economic development and all those kind of things, increasing the comforts of life. They're not interested in that. They are completely immersed in studying the Vedic scriptures and spreading that knowledge also. Parashara Muni, like this, when he was traveling, he happened to come across this daughter of Uparichara Vasu and Matsyagarbha. Her name was Satyavati, and she was extremely beautiful and highly qualified. Parashara Muni, seeing her, he could divine that the child born of this woman would be a great personality. And therefore, he fathered in the womb of Satyavati one son. They did not marry. Satyavati and Parashara Muni did not marry. But the child who was born out of wedlock, out of these two great personalities, was actually an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that was Vyasa Rishi. And after he was born, Vyasa Rishi was born, Parashara Muni gave a blessing to Satyavati that she would remain a Kanya, she would remain a virgin. And also, by his blessings, her body became fragrant for miles together. Although she was living in that colony in the community of the fishermen, you can imagine, even here also, when we go on that Kuppam road, we come across that fish market. When you come near the fish market, it starts stinking like anything. Because fish, the fish is sold there, it stinks. Imagine in the community of the fishermen where everybody fishing is happening. It will be filled with that bad odor of fish. But since she was living in that community, Parashara Muni, he blessed her that her body would become so fragrant that fragrance would spread for miles together, and all other smell would be cancelled out. And that is how Shantanu, when he was hunting, he came across Satyavati and he desired to marry her. And we all know how Bhishma Deva, he took that vow of brahmacharya, and that is how Shantanu married the same Satyavati. Now it's interesting to note here that in the Vedic times, not even in the modern age, even in the modern age, even today, if a girl and a boy have a relationship outside of marriage, it's not so well accepted in society. Of course, nowadays all these live-in relationships and all these things are becoming common. But mostly in the cities, that too in the metro cities, smaller cities, towns, villages and all, it's still not acceptable. You can imagine in the Vedic times, so many hundreds of thousands of years ago, how it would have been. In that age also, Parashara Muni had a son, Vyasa Rishi, out of wedlock with Satyavati. But by such a relationship, neither the position of Parashara Muni was downgraded, nor did Satyavati lose her respect in the society. Although Satyavati had become a mother without being married, still the king of the land, Shantanu, wanted to marry her. So we can understand from this, and also from the fact that the child born of Parashara Muni and Satyavati, it is described in the previous chapter of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, Tataha Saptadashe Jataha Satyavatyam Parasharat Chakre Vedataroha Shakha Drishtva Pumso Alpamedasaha. This Vedavyasa, who was born Satyavatyam, who was born out of Satyavati through Parasharat, he is considered as Saptadashaha. He is the 17th incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Tataha Saptadashe Jataha Satyavatyam Parasharat. He is considered as an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You can imagine this. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, his incarnation, is taking birth out of a father and a mother who never married. And what did he do when he grew up? Chakre Vedataroha Shakha. Before Vedavyasa's time, the entire Vedic scriptures were one. There was only one Vedic scripture. He created Vedataroha Shakha Chakre. He divided the Vedas into four. Atharva Veda, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda and Sama Veda. He divided them into four. And he actually put the Vedas into writing. Before Vedavyasa's time, the disciples would go to the Gurukula, the ashrama of the Guru, There they would hear the Vedas from the Guru, and by hearing they would by heart the entire Vedas. There was no written scripture before Vedavyasa. But Vedavyasa divided the one Veda into 4, and he also put it into writing. Why did he do this? What was the reason? Because Drishtva Pumso Alpamedasaha. Alpamedasaha. Medas means brain. Alpamedas means one who has small brain. Means unintelligent person. Drishtva Pumso Alpamedasaha. Vedavyasa could foresee that in future Kali Yuga is going to come, because as it is mentioned in today's verse, Vedavyasa, when was Vedavyasa born? Vedavyasa was born Dvapare Samanuprapte Tritiye Yugapariye. When there was an overlap of the second and the third millenniums, in fact, after the Satya Yuga, Dvapara Yuga is supposed to come, and then Treta Yuga is supposed to come. Dva means 2, second. Tritiya is third. So Treta Yuga has to come after Dvapara Yuga. But in the every day of Brahma, in the 28th Mahayuga, what happens? The Treta Yuga comes first and Dvapara Yuga comes next. And in that Mahayuga, in the 28th millennium in the 28th Mahayuga of Brahma, what happens is, when this overlapping of the Treta Yuga and Dvapara Yuga happens, in that Dvapara Yuga, Lord Krishna appears. So that's the significance of this overlapping. So when that overlapping happened, as Prabhupada is mentioning, each Yuga, the Mahayuga consists of 4 Yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga and Kali Yuga in this particular Mahayuga. So each Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, each Yuga is further divided into 3 sandhyas, 3 periods. Vyasadeva was born in Dvapara Yuga in the 3rd sandhya. That means towards the end of Dvapara Yuga. So, having appeared in the end of Dvapara Yuga, Vyasadeva could foresee that in the Kali Yuga, which is going to come very soon, people are alpamedasaha, drishtva alpamedasaha. He could foresee that the people of Kali Yuga are alpamedasaha. They are going to be unintelligent. So, what kind of statement is this? Looks like today, when Vyasadeva was born, there was no technology. Vyasadeva, when he had to write the Vedic scriptures, he had to write in palm leaves. And there was no printing technology. There was no software for laying out the whole text and to be able to print it, mass copies, to mass produce the copies. Nor was there a computer on which Vyasadeva could sit and type out the whole manuscript. What did he have to do? When he had to write the Mahabharata, Vyasadeva thought, now Mahabharata is going to be 1 lakh verses. When will I sit and finish it? I need someone I will dictate. Dictation can happen fast. I need someone to write it down. Because there were no computers those days. And so he thought, who can do it? He went and asked Lord Ganesha, can you do this for me? Ganesha said, I will do on one condition. What is that condition? You should non-stop recite the verses. If you stop, I will stop writing. That's all. Vedavyasa also accepted. All right. And then Vedavyasa, non-stop, he recited 100,000 verses. Ganesha also noted it down, and that became the Mahabharata. So even to write the Mahabharata, Vedavyasa had to enlist the help of Ganesha, because there was no printing technology. Today means very simple. Go and sit in front of the computer. Whatever comes to your mind, you keep typing. Very quickly everything will come out. Automatically the layout will also come very easily. You can do spell check also. Everything you can do. And then you can publish it. But those days, those things were not there. Still, Vedavyasa produced a flawless literature. Today, with all the computers and modern technology and publishing and all that, still there will be some errors when the book finally comes out. That's why some books, especially scholarly books, at the end they will have one page called errata. The next publication, they'll put these are the errors that are there in the book. So you can imagine. But look at the Mahabharata, Bhagavad-gita, flawless. Not a single mistake you can find out. So, today technology has advanced so much. Those days people used to live very primitively. There was no electricity. Now we have comfort of fans, artificial lighting, air conditioning. If you want to travel, there are cars, buses, trains, flights, aeroplanes, ships. So many things we have discovered. Technology has advanced so much. How are you saying that modern day people are unintelligent? In fact, modern day people consider themselves the most intelligent and advanced. That's the theory, isn't it? 40,000 years ago, Homo sapiens were like monkeys. Their intelligence was on the level of monkeys. Now our intelligence is so advanced, we are able to discover so many things. And here, Bhagavatam, written 5,000 years ago, is saying, Alpamedasaha, people in Kali Yuga are unintelligent. So, how do you understand this? So, fact is that in the Vedic scriptures, when we talk of intelligence, the intelligence is not referring to the intelligence which is required to materially advance or advance economically. That is one kind of intelligence, to discover science, technology, then advance economically. These are different kinds of intelligence. And we also now know that modern psychologists, they also tell that there are different kinds of intelligence. For example, suppose somebody is a very highly acclaimed scholar in, let us say, mathematics. He has done many discoveries and many formulae he has discovered and all that. Very intelligent, very highly respected. He has won the Nobel Prize and things like that. So, very intelligent man. You make him sit and tell him, now I'll show you one classical music I'll play. You please sing after that. If he starts singing, that's all. Everybody will get up and run away. Why? Because that musician, he will say, this man is dumb. He cannot sing. Why? You are Nobel laureate, mathematics professor, you are telling dumb? As far as music is concerned, he is dumb. Because that requires another kind of intelligence. Then there are sportsmen. They require another kind of intelligence. Businessmen require another kind of intelligence. You will see normally what happens is in colleges, you will find those who are toppers, first rank, gold medal, and when they pass out, everybody will expect, this man will grow very well in life. He will become a big man. Naturally, because very intelligent, no? Intelligence is on his side. Gold medal. So he must become a big man. I remember in the company where I used to work, there used to be different managers. One of the managers was an IIM gold medalist. He was the marketing manager of one division of the company. And he was getting a salary those days in the 90s, maybe 30, 40,000, I don't know how much he was drawing. But he was a manager and everybody used to respect him. Highly intelligent man. IIM gold medalist is not an ordinary thing. Only the best, the cream of the intelligent people in India get into the IIMs. Imagine, there he became a gold medalist. And he was the manager in this company. And this manager, we had got the company had got an order to execute some project in some big steel industry. So this company, the company in which I was working in, they had to outsource some portion of the work to some other contractor, some subcontract they had to give. So it was a very big order. They negotiated with one person from Calcutta. So the company I was working was in Bangalore. Project was somewhere in Odisha or something like that. But the contractor, he was a very famous contractor. He had executed many similar contracts. So they called him from Calcutta to Bangalore for negotiation. So in the 90s, there was no Indigo, SpiceJet and all those things. No economy class flights were there. Only this one, which was Indian Airlines. And it was a full fare flight. You would have to shell out in those days 25,000, 30,000 for one flight from Kolkata or Bombay to Bangalore. So he flew all the way down, and that contractor flew. He took the flight and came. So you can imagine, very wealthy guy. Those days nobody used to go by flight and all that. Even trains, there used to be no AC. There used to be unreserved class, the sleeper class, and there used to be first class. That's all. No AC. AC coaches were not there in the trains. Those were the days. So this man came by flight all the way from Calcutta to Bangalore, and he stayed in Ashoka Hotel. Those days there were no private 5-star hotels. Leela and all this Lee Meridian and all were not there. Only 5-star means Ashoka Hotel. He stayed in Ashoka Hotel. So you can imagine, really, wealthy guy. He came to the company and, everything was negotiated. And then finally, they had to sign on the contract papers. So this company, the company I was working in, represented by this IM gold medalist, he is the manager. He is signing for this company. And he signed on the papers and gave it to the contractor. Contractor took one stamp pad. Laga diya, thappa. Illiterate person. Doesn't know how to read and write. So you see, IIM gold medalist is working as a manager, small manager in one company. Illiterate man has become such a big contractor. He is able to come by flight, go by flight, stay in a 5-star hotel. So generally we think that somebody is intelligent in academics, he will be intelligent in business also. Not necessary. This man illiterate because he had no brains to study. He had no intelligence to go to school and pass the examination. But he has got business acumen, become a big contractor. So it's not necessary that one kind of intelligence will translate into intelligence in all other fields. You may be very intelligent in one field, but completely dumb in another. So when the Shastras are talking about intelligence, they are talking about spiritual intelligence. The intelligence to be able to grasp the realities of life, to be able to perceive the real problems of life, birth, death, disease, old age. The intelligence to be able to question, I don't want to suffer, why is there suffering in this world? The intelligence to question, is there a way I can get out of this cycle of repeated birth and death within this material world? This kind of intelligence is very rare. It is very uncommon. And even this kind of intelligence, it's available only in the human form of life. No animal can have this kind of intelligence. Other kinds of intelligence, animals can also have. Some human being is very capable of music. He can sing very beautifully. That's his intelligence. The cuckoo also sings beautifully. So there are animals also which you can run very fast. You got the intelligence to be very good in sports. Animals like the cheetah and tiger can run faster than you. So all kinds of intelligence that human beings possess, animals will also possess. Some animals may possess better than human beings. When intelligence in the fields of eating, sleeping, mating and defending are concerned, you will find those intelligence in human beings as well as animals, sometimes better in animals. But the intelligence to question what is the purpose of life, what happens after death, why should we suffer, these kind of questions, only in the human form of life, that kind of intelligence can be possessed. And that also not every human being can possess. Only very few gifted people can possess that intelligence. And in the olden ages, such people used to become rishis, sages, great learned personalities in the Vedic scriptures, highly renounced personalities, like Vyasa, Parashara Muni, all these personalities. So in Kali Yuga, if you compare in the olden ages, India was the land where sages and rishis you used to find them in great numbers. Look at the descriptions in the Vedic scriptures, whether it is Vyasa, Parashara Muni, Valmiki Rishi, so many rishis, Vishwamitra Muni, Bharadvaja Muni, Angira, Atri, Pulaha, Narada Muni, so many rishis and sages used to be very commonly found in the Indian Bharata Varsha. But today, you may find so-called sadhus, but how many real bona fide rishis and sadhus do you find? Practically none. So what happened? It is the same land. Even today the Vedic scriptures are available. So even today there are Sanskrit scholars who can read all this. But you don't find those kind of rishis and sages and people of such impeccable character, such lofty character, such exalted character, you don't find. Why? Because this is Kali Yuga. And in Kali Yuga, Drishtvo Alpamedasaha. In Kali Yuga, the people's intelligence goes down. The intelligence to inquire into spiritual subject matter is missing in Kali Yuga. And therefore, the Vedic scriptures say, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. In Kali Yuga, all are born as Shudras. Parashara Muni, within the womb of his mother, he learnt all the Vedas. So when he was born as not an illiterate person. He was born already as a Vedic scholar. Shukadeva Goswami, he took birth, he was born as a self-realized person. These are the great personalities who used to take birth in the Vedic land. But same land today, Shastras are saying, Kalau Shudra Sambhavaha. These kind of personalities you will not find taking birth in Kali Yuga. You will only find Shudra. Shudra means what? Shudra means a person who is in ignorance. Ignorance of what? Not about how to earn money, not about science and technology. A person may acquire a PhD degree in science and engineering and medicine and all these kind of things. But according to Shastra, he is a Shudra. Why? Because he has no knowledge that he is not the body, he is a spirit soul. Anybody who doesn't know, who doesn't understand that he is not the body, his spirit soul, is called a Shudra. That is the ignorance we are speaking of. So Shudra is not simply by birth. It is by what kind of knowledge you possess. Do you possess the knowledge you are not the body? Then you can be classified as a Vaishya or a Kshatriya or a Brahmana. But if you don't know that you are not the body, you are a spirit soul and you have an existence independent of this body, then you are a Shudra. And in Kali Yuga, even if you are born in a Brahmana family, you are considered a Shudra, because even those born in Brahmana families in Kali Yuga do not have the simple, basic, fundamental knowledge that you are not the body, you are a spirit soul. So to know that I am not the body, I am spirit soul, even a Vaishya will know, even a Kshatriya will know, not necessarily that a Brahmana has to know. This used to be Vedic civilization. Brahmana means he has to know much more. Brahman janati iti Brahmanaha. He should not, his knowledge should not be limited to only that I am not the body, I am spirit soul. That knowledge is possessed even by a Vaishya. So Brahmana means he has to know the absolute truth. He has to know the Parabrahman. Who is that Parabrahman? Beyond Brahman. We are all Brahman. We are a spirit soul, Atma. He has to know who is the Paramatma also. Then only he is called a Brahmana. So in the Vedic times, because people were of such exalted character and they were all self-realized personalities, people like Parashara Muni, begetting a son in the womb of Satyavati without marrying her, are not ordinary activities to be imitated by people. It's not like the modern day live-in relationship that a boy and girl undergo simply on the basis of lust. The relationships in Kali Yuga, even that of legally married husband and wife, is also based only on lust. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, in the 12th canto, it is mentioned that Dampatye Ratimevahi. In Kali Yuga, a man and a woman will become husband and wife simply because of Rati, because of the lust attraction between man and woman. In the Vedic times, it was not like that. Combination of man and woman was meant for producing children of high character. And that is why Parashara Muni, when he saw Satyavati, he understood that this girl is of very exalted character and our combination will produce a greatly exalted personality. And that is how Vedavyasa was born, not ordinary. So in the Chanakya Niti also, in the Niti Shastras, it is mentioned, Vishadapi Amritam Grahyam. If there is a pot filled with Amrita, nectar, if you drink Amrita, you will become immortal, almost immortal. You cannot become completely immortal, but you will have very long lifespan. So if there is a pot filled with Amrita and it has got mixed with Visha, it has got mixed with poison, We should not reject it saying that, oh, this has become contaminated. We should learn how to separate the two out, and one should take the Amrita, because the value of taking Amrita is so high. Vishadapi Amritam Grahyam, Amedhyadapi Kanchanam. Suppose there is a garbage bin, and Lord, it is filled with all kinds of refuse. Nobody will go and put his hand into it, isn't it? And in the midst of that garbage, you find there is one gold biscuit lying there. One piece of gold is lying there. So, Chanakya Pandit is saying, one should not reject that gold, thinking that, oh, gold has fallen into the garbage bin, now it has also become garbage. No. Gold, even if it has fallen into the garbage bin, it still retains its purity. You should take it out, clean it, and use it. It doesn't become contaminated. And similarly, Chanakya Pandit says that Vishadapi Amritam Grahyam, Amedhyadapi Kanchanam. He says, Stri Nichadapi Uttamam Vidyam. Normally, knowledge is supposed to be passed on from a person of a higher caste to a lower caste. For example, a Brahmana, he teaches, and the Kshatriyas and Vaisyas learn from him. Brahmana will not go to learn from a Kshatriya. Kshatriya has to learn from Brahmana. This was the normal practice. Chanakya Pandit says, but when it comes to Uttama Vidya, what is Uttama Vidya? Uttama, the word Uttama means Udgata Tama. What helps us to transcend ignorance. When it comes to Uttama Vidya, knowledge, transcendental knowledge, knowledge which can liberate us from the entanglement within this material body, that kind of knowledge, even if it is obtained, if it is possessed by someone who is born in a seemingly lower caste, you should still accept it from him. That is how Vedavyasa, he is born to a mother out of wedlock. If a child is born to a woman out of wedlock, he is considered a Shudra in the Vedic times. But Vyasadeva is not considered a Shudra. Why? Because he possessed Uttama Vidya. So, Nichadapi Uttamam Vidyam. If somebody possesses transcendental knowledge, if he is self-realized, we don't look at his birth, which family he has taken birth. And that is why Srila Prabhupada, when he preached in the West, he did not look at their birth. He did not say, all these Westerners, they are all Mlechas, Yavanas, meat eaters. These meat eaters, those who eat meat, they cannot even be part of the Varnashrama Dharma. They are below even the Shudras. They are not even part of the Varnashrama Dharma. So Prabhupada did not say that these are all Mlechas and Yavanas, Westerners. They are not fit. They are not qualified to accept Vedic knowledge. No, he gave them Vedic knowledge, and by understanding transcendental knowledge of the Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavatam, they became Brahmanas. They became qualified to worship the deity, the Vishnu form. So you can see how Uttama Vidya, once a person understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I am a spirit soul independent of this body, and my position is to be an eternal servant of Krishna, then what happens is his birth and his background no longer matter. He becomes as good as a Brahmana. So, Nichadapi Uttamam Vidyam. This is one of the codes of a Niti Shastra given by Chanakya Pandit. And then Chanakya Pandit says, Striratnam api dushkulad. If a girl is there of very excellent character, even if she is born in a very unqualified family, dushkula, from a family which is nondescript, not a very good family, even then she can be accepted. So Satyavati was living in the midst of fishermen. So fishermen are engaged in activity which is not considered a very noble profession, because you are engaged in killing fish, killing animals. So it is not a very good. Hunters who hunt animals, theirs is also not considered a very good profession. These are sinful professions. There are some people who engage in that profession, but they are called sinful professions because those professions involve a lot of sinful activity. Whether it is a hunter, fisherman, all these kind of things. So, Satyavati was born in such a kula, such a dynasty, which was a sinful dynasty. But still, because her character was very great, she was accepted by Parashara Muni and also by Shantanu Maharaj, who was a king. So, going by this principle, Parashara Muni foresaw that this combination, my combination with Satyavati, because she is of such exalted character, a great personality is going to be born. So, on that basis, he united with Satyavati, not because of some lusty desire. When a man and a woman unite they combine out of lusty desires, that combination is just like that of animals. Even animals, cats and dogs also, the female and the male animals, they combine out of lusty desire. And what is born to them? What is born to them are also cats and dogs. So if a man and a woman combine out of lusty desires, then the children born out of that will be like cats and dogs. And that is how today's world, the parents often come and complain. Children don't listen at all. They are so wild. So many things they are going into, doing this, that, into drugs and smoking and drinking and no culture. What is this? We were not like this. Because the problem is the way they were conceived itself was on the basis of lust. So naturally the children also born like that. They are born like cats and dogs. So therefore, we have to understand that when a man and a woman unite, they have a great responsibility. It's not for fulfillment of lusty desires. It is for procreating and giving birth to children of great character. That is the responsibility of marriage. So in the case of Parashara Muni, because he was such an exalted personality, he did not have to get bound by the rules and regulations of marriage. Still, he could produce a highly exalted personality who was himself an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So his action is not to be imitated. We have to follow the rules and regulations. If we have to beget children, it has to be within the boundaries of marriage, and that also with proper rules and regulations, with proper spiritual basis, and with sense control by which children of good character can be born. So that is the history of Vyasadeva, how Vyasadeva was born, and the significance of his being born as the son of Parashara and Satyavati, as it is described in today's verse. So I'll stop here. Grantharaj Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Natai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.